Well, we used to pretend we were twins. Remember that?
Oh, I know. I can see that.
We would pretend we were twins, and then I wound up with twins, which is remarkable.
But we told people that we were twins, and we took tennis lessons, and we never wanted to play tennis. We just wanted to hit the instructor with tennis balls.
Let's start again. Tell me how you know Baxter.
We worked together forever when I was at JL Hammett and he was an instructional fair. I was his largest customer, and then my husband and I both went to work for him in Oklahoma at Advanced Academics. And we've known him and Rich forever, and it's been wonderful because he's awesome.
Well, I think it's great. They've been together forever, and Baxter's always been family since they've been together, so in a way, you know, it's not going to make a whole lot of difference, but it's nice that it's going to be a legal situation now, and they're going to be able to move on with their married life. Congratulations. I admire what you're doing, stepping out and doing this, and I love them both.
So sweet. Do me one more favor. Look straight into that camera and say, say like you're talking to Baxter and Rich.
Baxter and Rich, I love you both very much. Congratulations on this very special day.
That's gorgeous, darling. That's it. Anything else you want to add? The Baxter Rich.
I call him Todd.
Oh, right.
Todd, because I know him from when we were little tiny children.
Right. You were telling me that last night. Yeah, and I was confused last night. Everybody kept talking about Todd, and I'm going, I really don't know who this person is. Who's Todd? All right, tell me about your relationship with you and Todd.
Todd and I met when we were both little tiny children. I was 5 or 6 and he was 4 or 5, and I moved into his neighborhood, and he came over the first day and introduced himself on his bicycle, and it was instant chemistry. We were never apart a single day, literally, for years after that, until we turned 18 and went to college. Our moms were best friends, our families were friends. Love him dearly.
I love that. What do you think about Rich?
Rich is awesome. And for two people to be together 25 years and want to get married is just incredible. Well, that's what's so neat about being here today, to celebrate that. It brings a richness to it, I think, for them, to have so many people who come here for them. We're doing this for them, and for our love for them and our support of them, and honoring each of them and the bond that they have created together.
Say something to him. So you talking to him.
Todd, you're the first man I ever loved, and you know how I love you. You know how I always have loved you. You and I had so many fun experiences together, so many mischievous, curious experiences together, most of which we were never caught for. And I'm so thrilled that you and Rich have found each other for so many years and been together and formed a great relationship and love and trust each other, respect each other. I'm really proud of you. I love you dearly. I always will.
That was rockin'. What the heck are we doing here? What's going on?
Well, we are here to celebrate the marriage of Todd Baxter Brings and Rich, and so it's a very happy occasion. And we're in Vermont, which they live in Santa Fe now, but they wanted to do something different and they picked Vermont because neither of them had been here before, and they thought that would be a really cool experience to go and do something new, to start this new adventure. And yeah, I'm very excited. In a couple hours they're going to be married. And
Have you been having a great time since
yeah,
you've been here?
oh, it's beautiful. It's just gorgeous. We've been so lucky. It's been really warm. There's hardly a cloud in the sky. It's been the 80 degrees, and just seeing, it's like a reunion as well, because just seeing family and friends. I've been friends with Baxter since we were kids at 12 years old, and there's a couple other people here. There's a friend of his, Carolyn, who he hadn't seen in 28 years. So family, a lot of people, and so it's just, yeah, it's a really warm, loving gathering. Oh, I'm thrilled and just happy, finally. They've been together for 25 years. This is their 25th anniversary. We've known Rich, as long as I've known many of my, oldest friends as well, so he's become a dear friend. They make each other incredibly happy. Frankly, I, wish I could find a relationship like that. A lot of us do. They're really, really great together. They balance each other out very well, and they just create an incredible environment of warmth and comfort around them. It's always a pleasure to go and see them and stay with them, and they make other people feel very comfortable and welcoming and inclusive, So yeah, I'm just very happy that they decided to do this and that they can do it here, at least one of the places they can do it. So yeah.
Right, well, I understand. Talk to them.
Okay. I love you, both of you, very, very much. You're in my heart. I'm so happy. Okay, now, I wasn't supposed to start crying. Wait a minute.
That was fantastic.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Terrific. Well, I'm Marcia Endall Kramer, and I am a first cousin of Sherry, Kent, and Todd, known as Baxter. And I was a 4-year-old flower girl in Todd Baxter's mother's wedding. And Cynthia held my hand like half the time of the wedding because I was 4, telling me where to walk and when. And I had a very special relationship with Barbara, with Auntie Barbara. She was my favorite aunt in the whole world. And I asked her at that wedding, what do you want? She was a 19-year-old. She had just made her debut in California, and she was marrying a man who was 11 years older, absolutely in love, looked ravishingly beautiful. She said, I want children, and I want to be a mother and a wife, and I want to be happy. And I want my children to grow up and be happy and find a wonderful partner. She told me that the day she got married at 19, and that was so significant for me. So we would get together with my mother and Uncle Keith, who is Baxter's father, were cousins, and they were both only children for a while, for 8 years, until my mother's younger brother was born. And so my mother, who just turned 90, has written her 3rd poetry book, and several stories and several poems are about her cousin Keith. Well, Keith marries Barbara, and so mother and my parents have been a part of their life forever. So we would spend Thanksgiving and Christmas together. We lived all over the United States. I went to 14 schools in 7 states before high school, but the touchstone was Minneapolis and Duluth. And so we would come up to see Aunt Ethel and Uncle Lawrence and be with Sherry, Kent, and Todd. Jump ahead, like we had many, many wonderful family occasions. Jump ahead to me going to University of Minnesota. I was in Alpha Delta Pi sorority, and Auntie Barbara would say, come out for the weekend, you're studying for exams. And as Sherry said, oh yeah, it was really quiet with 3 kids in the house. And so I would spend time with Sherry, Kent, and Todd, and taking time off university and being out there and going in the boat and water skiing and the cruiser and everything else. And just have loved watching these 3 cousins grow up. Aunt Barbara and I stayed in touch until shortly before she died. She was so happy when Baxter found Rich. They found each other. And I remember talking to her. I had gone through a divorce. I've been happily remarried for 29 years, but I was going through a divorce. What is the secret of your marriage, Barbara? You and Keith, what is it? And she said, you find a spouse who absolutely is madly in love with you. And Keith is to this day. I mean, Barbara was his touchstone and the love of his life. And she said, I want that to be for my children. And so when she called me to tell me about Todd, he was Todd then, Baxter, finding Rich, she just cried with joy and said, remember what I told you when I was getting married? This is what's happened to my son. I've never seen him so happy in my whole life. And so we have followed through. They sort of complete each other. They're so different. In many ways, they're different, but in many ways, their values, the touchstone is just really significant. And I felt that when they were doing the vows, of course, I was just bawling, being happy, remembering Barbara and Keith's wedding, remembering the growing up, and saying, here's 2 men who have found each other. And when the music from Brokeback Mountain came on, I'm totally weeping, thinking they didn't have to die not having this relationship. They've had it. And this was as if they were renewing their marriage vows, because what they said about each other is the way that they have lived their life together. And that was just so special. These are amazing men. And even though each one, just like in our family, we have 4 children, each of the children were different, we've lived different lives, but we're very, very close, and that's what certainly has happened with Sherry Kent and Todd Baxter. Love Rich, he is just very down to earth and authentic and able to talk about his feelings and able to express them, and I have just come to love him this weekend and his family.
Oh, this is so special for me. We reconnected on Facebook, the dreaded Facebook, but sometimes it really works miracles, because he got back in touch with me, and it had been many, many, many years. We left on sort of uncertain terms when he trashed my apartment and left. There were some odd circumstances, but it was a long story. But before that, he was the person, thank you Baxter, who convinced me to move to New York City. I thought I was going to go to college in Washington, D.C. Didn't work out, and thank God I'd probably be married to some boring lawyer. Divorced by now, I'm sure. But anyway, I moved to New York City from Long Lake, Minnesota. It was unbelievable. He took me to Washington Square Park my very first day, and it was like going to a carnival. And I thought, what is everyone celebrating? And I realized that's what it was like every single day. And then we went to Central Park, and we rode the carousel, which was just magical. I mean, epic, just unbelievable. Baxter made New York City feel at home. It was such a scary place, and we lived in such a scary neighborhood. And he went around with me. I mean, we were inseparable. People thought we were brother and sister, and in a way we were. I never had a brother, so he was my brother. And we went around and discovered New York City and its craziness, and had some pretty wild times there. Had lots of laughs, had some heartbreaks, and we were all there for each other every moment. And when we reconnected, it was so special, because I was going through a very hard time in my life. And to be here in this beautiful place, in this beautiful occasion, it's the most beautiful place and the most perfect day. I mean, I couldn't have asked for anything more if I were the photographer. So I'm so glad to be here, and just to meet so many people that I've never met before, and other people that I haven't seen in almost 30 years. And yes, you can't see it, but I am sucking my belly in. Yes. But yeah, I'm glad to be alive. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be back into Baxter's life and with Rich. I've heard a lot about him, and he's as charming as I could have ever, imagined. And good luck to both of you guys. And I am going to be seeing you guys in Santa Fe.
Well done.
Well, I've known both of you, Todd perhaps a little longer, but both of you together have meant so much, not only to me, but from my sister Barbara, and how she thrived and flourished under both of your care. And times when they left town and went to Florida, that Rich, you were always there, and they knew that their house was as safe with you as it was with themselves. And when you take 2 people who have a big, huge house, they pack up everything, have a garage sale, and move to Apple Valley so they can be closer to the 2 of you. And they shared with your trials and with your successes, and I heard all about you by phone, as we talk so often. But the thing that's the most important is my relationship with you, and it's been one of well, knowing that you're there and that we can drop in on you and stay for days and do our laundry and hike and and you have always given us that special attention that only loved ones can give. So thank you for being you, and thank you for always being there, and I know you always will be. And I know that the 2 of you have nothing but happiness in the future, and just keep me in that future, okay?